Okay, folks, I'm going to run through how to do each step of the Google Maps scale activity that we're doing with the state of New Jersey and some towns in New Jersey. So the first step, as you see, I added number 6 there to show you how to do this. We want to find how many miles it is between Berlin, New Jersey, and Glassboro, New Jersey for number 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Google Maps, and I'm going to type in Berlin, and I'm going to choose Berlin, New Jersey. So this pulls up a highlight of your town of Berlin. And now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click on directions. When directions comes up, I'm going to go up to the top line, and I'm going to type in Glassboro. And as you see, it comes up right there, Glassboro, New Jersey. Now, the distance that you get right here with the little car, the 12.8 miles, those are driving distances. That's with all your turns and curves and everything. So I want a straight line distance. So I go over top of Berlin with my cursor right there. I'm going to use two fingers. I'm going to press down with 2 fingers. And that brings up the choices right here. I'm going to choose measure distance. So I click on measure distance, and now I go over to where Glassboro is, and I click there. And as you see, it adds this straight line, that black straight line right there. And if we look down here, it tells us 11.44 miles. So on my paper, I'm going to put in 11.4. I'm going to round it to the nearest tenth. Once I have that distance, now I can come to the second part down here where number 11 is, and I want to figure out how far Berlin to Glassboro would be in inches on this map that has a scale of 20.8 miles for every 1 inch. So I'm going to set up a proportion using that scale. So 20.8 miles for every 1 inch, which was given to me. That was the scale given to me. And when I set up a proportion, I got to make sure that if miles is the label on top, miles has to be the label on top. If inches is on bottom, inches has to be on bottom. Now again, I'm trying to find how many inches. So that's the thing that we don't know. That's our question mark that we're trying to find. What I do know is that Glassboro is 11.4 miles away. So I can put that in here. So to find the missing inches, we have to do our algorithm. Cross multiply 1 times 11.4, and then we divide by the third number of our proportion here, which is the 20.8. To make things go faster in class, I said you can use the calculator for this. So if I go to calculator, right there, and bring it up. Now, the first step is 1 times 11.4. I don't think you really need to do that because that's 11.4. So we got to do 11.4 divided by 20.8. So 11.4 divided by 20.8. Really long decimal. But I'm only going to go 2 decimal places. So 0.548, I'm going to round that to 0.55. But I'm not done here. Because now that I have this right here, it says inside of the thing, we're going to round to the nearest eighth of an inch. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want to be able to use a ruler later on. So on the back here, we're going to take our 0.55, the decimal section, that's all there is here. And we're going to look on this chart and see where does 0.55 wind up. 0.55 winds up right here between 0.5 and 0.625. And 0.5 is going to be closer, 0.55 is going to be closer to 0.5. So if I come over 0.5, the nearest eighth is 4/8, which is the same thing as 2/4, which is the same thing as 1/2. So I am going to rewrite my 0.5 inches as 1/2 of an inch. So now I know from Berlin to Glassboro on this map is going to be 1/2 of an inch. But I don't know which direction to go. So I'm going to go back to Google Maps real quick. And I'm going to just look on the map to see about where it is. So if I look, and if I shrink this to get a better look at the whole state, I see that from Berlin, it goes southwest. So whenever I line up my ruler, which is measuring by eighths, and how do I know that? Because if I count the little lines, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 to get to 1. So 1/2 is going to be 4/8. So if I line this up on 4/8, which is 1/2, right there, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4/8, and I go south and west, I know that Glassboro is right about here. Okay, so then I'll label it Glassboro. And if I look at that, and then I look over here, I think that's a pretty good estimate about where Glassboro is. And it follows my scale based on the measurement that I got right there when I rounded to the nearest eighth.